Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Hot Shots Arena in Mount Pleasant for tonight's bout. We're a little loud. The Westmoreland Roller Girls, Westco Roller Girls versus the J-Town Roller Girls, the Flood City Sirens. First, let's introduce the Flood City Sirens. Number 1 in the captain, Daisy Duquesne. Number 2K, Kim Proper Conduct. Number 14, Jannibal Lecter. Number 20, Reina Terror. Number 23, Betty Bombshell. Number 37, Barbie O'Havoc. Number 80, Champagne. Number 84, Roxy Razorblade. Number 113, Tiny Terror. Number 180, Foxy Balboa. Number 231, Nikki Nightmare. Number 1929, Herder Hoover. Number 6669, Nun Crusher. And number X3, Misbehavin'. Ladies and gentlemen, the Flood City Sirens. And now, your home team, the Westco Roller Derby. Let's hear it for number 1945 on Atomic Bombino. Number 1953, Pinky Donchadero. Number 22, Queen of Hertz. Number 2424, Stiletto Flame. Number 31, Heather Scissorhands. Number 33, Schizo Fitzo. Number 333, Malice Chalmers. Number 420, Chick of Destiny. Number 63, and the captain, Tammy Toestop. Number 718, Ophelia Payne. And number 86, Code Red. The Flood City Sirens is coached by Brad the Builder and Son of Slam. Westco Roller Derby coached by Pitts McGee and Ambush. Right now, we'd like to ask everyone to please come to your feet, face the flag towards my left side of the arena here, as our national anthem will be sung tonight by Code Red.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the
right, everyone. We're ready for a great night of Derby. We're going to start off with a little Derby 101 for those who aren't familiar with the way the game is played. So we're going to ask the starting lines to come out for one lap and explain a little bit of what's going on. A jam consists of 2 minutes, as you can see on the clock. Skaters have 30 seconds to line up before the jam clock starts. There'll be 4 blockers and 1 jammer for each team. The one with the star on her helmet will be the jammer. She's the one that can score points. The one with the stripe on her helmet, she's the pivot or the lead blocker. The blockers must stand in front of the green line, also known as the jam line. The jammers must stand behind the jam line. On the single whistle, the jam and the time will start. The timer will give a 5-second and blow the whistle. The jammers, the ones with the stars on their helmet, their idea is to get through the pack. The jam ref, Nigel Dirt there, will call lead jammer. The lead jammer is the only one who can call off the jam. She will call off the jam by putting her hands onto her hips to call the jam off. And there she goes, she calls off the jam. For each blocker she passes, she will collect a point. Both jammers can collect points. For those of you familiar with the rules, we are playing by what we call the new rules that were instituted or came out a couple weeks ago. There will be 30-second penalties for this evening. So get ready for an evening of fast action. And we're ready to go with our first jam of the evening. On the jam line, it's Nikki Nightmare, number 231 for the Flood City Sirens. And number 31, Heather Scissorhands, who becomes your lead jammer quickly, coming through turn 1.
That didn't take long here tonight.
No, she was great out there. And West Coast giving her time. We've got our first penalty of the evening, and Captain Tummy Toestop going in. And she's going to sit for 30 seconds. Nikki Nightmare through for her initial pass, and before she can score any points, Heather Scissorhands puts up 4 as she calls off the jam.
That was a quick jam there for the hometown Westco Derby girls.
It certainly was, and it looks like they're just feeling each other out, you know, trying to get a... As we come up to jam number 2, it's Reign of Terror for the Flood City Sirens.
And Chick of Destiny for Westco.
And Chick of Destiny out in front is the lead jammer. And we'll get an out of play call as Reign of Terror gets pushed out early by Schizo Frizzo. And Chick of Destiny in going for her scoring pass, and Reign of Terror getting held up by 33 Schizo Frizzo way in the back. Betty Bombshell kept up Chick of Destiny as long as she could.
Girls are flying all over the place right now, ladies and gentlemen.
And she is. And Reign of Terror makes it through her initial pass.
Oh,
Chick of Destiny is putting up a few more points.
I think she put a few bodies up too right there.
And she calls it off and throws another 8 up before Reign of Terror gets through for her scoring pass. It's going to take us up to 12-0 through 2 jams.
It's a sport anyone's in at any given time.
At any given time, and you're right. Fates of fortune can change quickly. We're back to the full teams on the rink. Number 31, Heather Scissorhands back out there again as a jammer up against Nun Crusher, who gets pushed out by Ophelia Payne, who's going to get called for an elbow. Ophelia Payne's going to have to go sit in the box for 30 seconds while Nun Crusher tries to get in her initial pass.
Heather Scissorhands with the lead here.
That's 2 jams for her and two lead jams, and Nun Crusher still working to get her initial pass through, and that's 5. A natural 5 for Heather Scissorhands as she laps the jammer for the Flood City Sirens.
Looks like we have a few out of the track here. Bombino's going to sit for Westco.
Westco with another 5 is a natural up on Flood City. And Nun Crusher with her initial pass. Queen of Hertz, number 22 in the box. As Heather Scissorhands calls off the jam, just as Nun Crusher gets up. Nun Crusher able to put 3 on the board. Westco now holding at 27, and that was a 14-point pass.
It's huge. We got a quick pace here tonight.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt. Quick. Westco down 2 as we've got 2 in the box. We've got a new jammer for Flood City Sirens, and it's Foxy Balboa up against Code Red, and Jannibal Lecter pulls Code Red to the back and does a little rear bridging.
Westco back with 2 people in the sin bin again.
Yep, it's Malice Chalmers into the box for 30 seconds.
Foxy Balboa with the natural pass.
And Foxy's out as lead jammer. She catches a natural 5 by passing up Code Red. And Foxy calls it off, but she throws 5 up against nothing for Westco. Flood City making a little bit of leeway, cutting into that lead at 27-8 now.
Westco's not helping themselves in the penalty box tonight.
We've only got 5 minutes ticked off, and we're already into our 5th jam. And it's Betty Bombshell, new jammer, up against Atomic Bombino. And still with Westco down, 2 blockers, Betty Bombshell goes inside for Tammy Toestop, knocks her down, but she stays in bounds.
Ooh, what a
and
hip
still
check
another
there.
hard hit on Betty Bombshell. The Flood City Siren wall is holding up Atomic Bombino in a bad way, but same can be said for Westco as they hold back Betty Bombshell on the inside. We've got a lap and a half so far without a lead jammer.
What a wall that's been built here by the Sirens.
We've got a no pack call. And Atomic Bambino gets lead jammer with a no pack call. And Atomic Bambino going in for a scoring pass is Betty Bombshell still looking for a initial.
She might get it here.
Atomic Bombino on the inside calls off the jam from the coach. Just as Chick of Destiny gets off the chair, so we're going to be skating at full strength. Our score now is going to go up to 32 for Westco versus 8 for J-Town, as they are not able to put anything else up on the board. Sirens looking for any opening that they can get. And we've got another new jammer for the Sirens.
Actually,
it's Tiny Terror,
we have a new one.
number 113.
New one out there right now for Westco too. Schizo Fritzo.
It's Schizo Fitzo, number 33.
Ladies and gentlemen, you guys see this girl skate. She just flies out there on the track.
And she's through early as Tiny Terror gets thrown out of bounds by Atomic Bambino.
And she's
Tiny
back.
Terror out again, and that's a natural 5 for Schizo Fitzo. And Tiny Terror still looking for her initial pass as Schizo Fitzo comes in on the inside for another natural 5. The front line of Westco has been really holding up the Sirens pretty much for the first 7-8 minutes of this bout. And Tammy Toestop with a big shoulder puts Tiny Terror out. And she's going to get called. And it's going to be a power jam for Westco as Schizo Fitzo is going to
Trying to form their wall here.
And Tiny Terror into the box for 30 seconds with a no pack call. Schizo Fitzo is going to get a pass and 5 points as she ghost points on Tiny Terror, who's going to sit for 30.
Going right up the middle. Oh, one to the outside.
And that's Daisy Dukin putting Schizo Fitzo into the center. And we go to a no pack call, which brings everybody back.
Westco.
And just as Tiny Terror standing up.
She put some serious points on the board there.
She did. That's going to be a 20-pointer, I believe. And it will start out Westco with a power jam.
Can't be long, correct?
And we're now at 57, so that was 25 to 8. We've got just over a third of the jam of the first half over with.
Ophelia Payne out here for Westco as the lead jammer.
And Tiny Terror back in.
Gotta love the face paint, huh?
I love that face paint. It's an eye catcher. Ophelia Payne coming in for her scoring pass as Tiny Terror still trying to get through on a initial pass. Hitting that wall of pain of Westco, and she's through for her initial pass.
Oh.
And Ophelia Payne, jammer on jammer. And Schizo Fitzo puts a hard hit on Tiny Terror, putting her out again. And Ophelia Payne calling it off as she puts a natural, I believe it's going to be 10 points onto the board, Seth.
Tell you what, we're having some fun here, ladies and gentlemen. We're out here at the Hot Shot Sports Arena. It's great to have you here as this is the first bout of season 3 for the Westco Roller Derby team. And what better way to do it here with the brand new Johnstown Sirens. Congratulations to these girls. This league has just been created about less than a year ago, correct?
Yes, we started just about May 10th of last year. So we're real excited to be here, and I think they've come a long way in just a very short time. And wearing the star this time, it's Raina Terror for the Flood City Sirens. And she's got the lead jammer status up against Code Red for Westco. Raina Terror, even though she's behind right now, is the lead jammer. And Raina Terror calls off the jam. And Raina Terror puts 2 points up.
Code Red got 4.
Code Red puts up 4 points, adding to their total at 67 to 10 Well, make that 69-10 with Westco still up.
We're not even halfway through here. 71.
71-10.
It's all right.
That's all right.
We're only unofficial, that's all. We're good.
And in the jam line for this 8th jam of the evening, it's Nikki Nightmare for the Flood City Fury and number 31, Heather Scissorhands, who's lead jammer. That's her 3rd time on the jam line, 3rd time she's lead jammer. And Nikki Nightmare threw for her initial pass as both teams get ready to wall up. And Heather Scissorhands on the outside. She picks up 4 quick points and calls it off. It's been a real fast pace tonight, I have to say. We really haven't any slow pack material going on.
Yeah, if you're a sponsor, you definitely are getting your money's worth right now.
And speaking of sponsors, it's Rocco's Pizzeria, who's located in Youngwood and Greensburg, a proud sponsor of tonight's roller derby here for the Westco Roller Derby. And on the jam line for the Sirens, it's Foxy Balboa up against number 333, Malice Chalmers for the Westco Roller Derby. And Flood City Fury the Sirens trying to wall up, and Malice Chalmers threw rather quickly, but Foxy Balboa right behind her. Malice Chalmers lead jammer. And Code Red's in the box for 30 seconds. So Westco down by a blocker, and the jam is called off by Malice Chalmers. That gets 1 point. Puts 1 point up for Westco and nothing for the Flood City Sirens. And we're just about halfway through the first half with just about 15 minutes left. This is our 9th jam with a score at 76 for Westco and 10 for the Flood City Sirens. Anything can happen now in roller derby. And it's Nun Crusher, number 6669 for the Flood City Fury up against number 31. Heather Scissorhands again out for lead jammer one more time. Heather Scissorhands has been tough to stop, working through the Flood City wall. And Nun Crusher pushed out by Atomic Bombino, and she's going to have to pedal back a little bit. Heather Scissorhands with a natural 5 as she laps Nun Crusher.
Oh, Bombino with the flying hip check. Heather Scissorhands through again for the natural 5.
Nun Crusher still held up by Ophelia Payne in the backside. And Nun Crusher gets past Atomic Bombino for her initial pass. And we have Code Red coming in for another pit stop in the sin bin. And she's going to sit for 30. And that's 4 more points for Heather Scissorhands as she calls off the jam just as Nun Crusher comes up for her first scoring pass.
We do have a referee stoppage here.
And we've got an official timeout.
Oh, well, we have a timeout. We don't time out, so.
There is no timeouts here. Let's talk about another sponsor for Westco Roller Derby. It's CG Wraps Designs and Graphics, located right here in beautiful Mount Pleasant. That's CG Designs and Graphics. They are a sponsor of Westco Roller Derby. If you want to be a sponsor of Westco Roller Derby, please get in touch with any one of their skaters.
And their wonderful staff that's on hand this evening.
It takes a lot of staff.
Yes, it does, and a lot of volunteers. And thank you very much to all those that made this possible here this evening for the 3rd season opening bout for Westco Roller Derby.
It's really great to be here. I know the Sirens are really happy to be on this side of the mountain playing against Westco.
Yeah, we can get a fun rivalry going here.
I believe we can. You know, it's close enough, and certainly the competition is stiff enough.
The battle of Route 22.
Our score now at 90 for Wesco and 10 for the J-Town with 13:33 left in the half. And this will be our 11th jam. And on the jam line, it's Nikki Nightmare for the Flood City Sirens up against Malice Chalmers, number 33-3. Both jammers looking for an opening, and it's Nikki Nightmare is lead jammer. And Flood City is preventing Malice Chalmers from getting ahead. And looks like Malice Chalmers has made her initial pass. Flood City looking to put some points on the board as Wesco walls up. Both teams put up 4 points on that initial pass as Malice Chalmers gives a sharp elbow to Nikki Nightmare.
We got someone going to the sin bin.
We got a low block call against 1953.
Pinky.
Picky Donchadero is going to go to the box. So Wesco will be down a blocker for the start of this 12th jam. Our score now sitting at 14 for J-Town and 94 for Wesco.
That was actually some sustained offense there for the first time tonight.
Yeah, it's been definitely a defensive battle. And on the jam line, we've got a new jammer for Flood City. It's Champagne. Champagne for Flood City out in front is the lead jammer. And it's Atomic Bambino for Wesco as the jammer. And she gets through for her initial pass.
Here comes the wall by Wesco.
Champagne gets through.
Bambino able to pass.
She put a couple points into that. And we've got an out of play call that calls back Flood City. And the jam is called off as Champagne puts 3 points up on the board on that pass. Our score now at 98 for Wesco and 17 for the Flood City. We've got one in the box for Flood City and one for Wesco, so we're even on the jam line for blockers. And it's number 33, Schizo Fizzo, out in front, and she just seems to get through the blockers like a hot knife through butter.
That's a good one.
Thank you. Foxy Balboa also threw on her initial pass. And Schizo Fizzo calls it off before Foxy Balboa can put a point up. And that's going to be 3 points for Wesco, 3 quick ones as they maintain their lead. Flood City not able to put any points on the board.
I'll tell you what, we haven't seen a 2-minute jam yet here tonight.
No, we haven't. And getting the lead jam has been definitely a bonus for Wesco.
Yes, it is.
They've been lead jam for most of the evening so far. I think Flood City's going to pick it up, though.
We're going to have some track repair done right now, and while we do that, why don't we talk a little bit about another sponsor, which is actually, I'll take care of this one.
Oh, you might know these guys.
Yeah, I might know this one since I'm representing them tonight. Armstrong Cable here in Mount Pleasant's actually filming the bout tonight for rebroadcast in 2 weeks, a part of our hometown sports package. So tune in to Armstrong Channel 20 and Channel 100 as we rebroadcast this entire bout from start to finish. So hope you tune in and check your local listing for times.
I think we might just have to, come down here for a visit, maybe a viewing party or something.
There we go. There we go.
Over the mountain.
That's right.
All right, and we're back to action here. It's our score of 101-17 with Wesco up, and we're just at the 10-minute mark. We're 2/3 of the way through this first half. And our jammers are number 31, Heather Scissorhands for Wesco.
Tell you what,
And Kim Proper Conduct is a jammer for the Flood City Sirens, and Kim Proper Conduct looking to get through on the inside. She's pushed in and has to restart herself from behind. Wesco playing very physically tonight. And Heather Scissorhands through for a natural 5. And we get a no pack call against Wesco, which is going to release Kim Proper Conduct. And Atomic Bombino with an out of play call. Gets called out of play for holding back Kim Proper Conduct with the out of play. And that's 4 points for Heather Scissorhands. And she calls off the jam. And we've got a timeout for the West Coast side.
I think we're going to have a quick discussion here. This is where lots of people are in touch here. I believe we're going to have a captain speaking to the referees about the recent penalty.
Very sure that's what they're talking about.
Yeah,
either that or where we're going for the after party.
Well, where is the after party this evening?
That's a very good question. I'll get to you in the second half with that information.
Yeah, I actually have it in the
phone. Oh, do you?
Yeah, I just have to pull it up. We are in Greensburg this evening.
Greensburg,
yes, we are.
Any place in particular in Greensburg?
Like I said, it's in the phone. So I thought maybe you had some of the information here.
I didn't drive today.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we wish you speedy recovery there.
Well, yeah, thanks. I'm short a wing, for those who don't know. Kind of embarrassing that it was on roller skates.
Hey, better to be on the track than some small freak accident at home, right?
Yeah, and what I wouldn't do for roller derby.
That's right. And thanks for coming down here. We couldn't do this bout, especially for TV, without you and for the fans out here in the audience tonight.
If you've never been to a bout, it's kind of like race cars. You know, you can watch racing on TV, but until you actually go, you've got to be there. I've always said that about a lot of sports, but especially like derby. Until you actually come down to a bout, it's the ultimate. And hopefully you'll be hooked enough to either want to get on skates, sell tickets at the door, do promotions for a team. The more this sport expands, the more opportunities there are for wonderful people to get out and know each other. I can't say enough good things. Am I rambling yet?
No, not at all. I was in total agreement with you. Actually, both squads, I'm sure, are looking for fresh meat, always recruiting fresh meat.
Always recruiting for fresh meat. We had a great fresh meat recruiting class up in Johnstown. We had about 6 new girls come in, and we just had another about 7 or 8 decided they want to come. In fact, some of our fresh meat's here with us this evening.
Congrats.
And
That's
they're,
great.
They're over there. There they are.
There they are.
We couldn't be happier that they're here.
That's awesome. That's great to see.
It is, you know, come out and support. And once you come to a derby bout, you're hooked.
That's it. That's what we want.
No doubt about it. And looks like the timeout has been rectified, and I don't see Atomic Bambino in the box anymore. So they must have pulled away that penalty from her.
Yeah, I believe.
Reconsidered.
I think that's the only sporting event that you can ever actually talk the ref into a redecision.
And we don't have instant replay yet.
No.
So on the jam line, it's Reign of Terror for the Flood City Sirens and Code Red for Wesco. And Code Red out in front is your lead jammer. And Reign of Terror does break through the wall of Wesco to get ready for her scoring pass.
A huge jam up here.
And here comes Code Red and Nuncrusher holding her back. And Code Red calls it off before Reign of Terror can do too much damage, but she gets 3 as well as Code Red, so that's pretty much a wash point-wise. 3 points for each team. Will take us to 20 for the Flood City Fury. Excuse me, Sirens. That was one name that was under consideration.
Okay.
At one time, yeah. I got it stuck in my head for some reason.
We're at 20 to 113.
113 for Wesco. And with 7:40 left in the first half. And this will be our 15th jam of the evening. And on the jam lines, Nikki Nightmare for the Flood City Sirens. And number 33, Schizo Fitzo. And uncharacteristically, he's being held back pretty well. And Roxy Razorblade gets called for a penalty, so she's going to have to skate around and sit down. Schizo Fitzo is your lead jammer. Nikki Nightmare has made her initial pass.
I would say I actually never saw her go through there. She must have came out like a rocket there after being held up early.
Yes, she was. She definitely was, and she calls it off. And before Nikki Nightmare can put any points on the board. So that's going to be a four-point pass, taking Wesco up to 117, and Flood City still hanging at 20.
Actually, we want to welcome back original alums of Wesco Roller Derby. Kim Proper and Roxy were both members of this original squad, so it's great to see them here tonight, and great to see them with this great new team here.
I know they're excited to be back. There was a lot of high fives and hugs when we came in the door, and
traded in the green and purple for the pink and black.
And jamming, we've got
we've
got two penalties going. It's Malice Chalmers going to the box, so we've got a power jam going on for Foxy Balboa. It's Malice Chalmers and Chick of Destiny are going to sit down for Wesco. So Flood City definitely with an advantage right now if they can spring their jammer. Foxy Balboa getting held up by the Wesco wall.
Down by 2 people, and you can't even tell.
None that we've got Schizo Fitzo Code Red and Pinko Donchadero is the wall right now.
And she finally
now we've got lead jammer status for Foxy Balboa, just as Malice Chalmers is hitting the track. We're skating at full strength. Foxy Balboa hoping to put some points on the board as Malice Chalmers is through for her initial pass. And Foxy Balboa calls off the jam for 4 points. And we got 1 point for Wesco and Malice Chalmers. We're now at 4 minutes and 30 seconds in the 17th jam of the evening. With Wesco now at 118 and Flood City at 24. It's Champagne on the jam line for Flood City and Atomic Bambino for Wesco. Both teams skating at full strength. Nobody in the sin bin. It's been a pretty late evening for penalties, I think. And a 30-second penalty rule has certainly sped things up a whole lot.
And we're going to have a power jam here. Bambino's got to get through this wall.
It's it, misbehaving. The jammer misbehaving, sitting down. This could be a power jam for Atomic Bambino while she misbehaving. X3 jamming for the first time this evening is taking a seat. And now Nun Crusher, number 6669, is going to take a seat also for Flood City. So Flood City Fury down by 2. Betty Bombshell is going to go to take a seat also. So Flood City down to 2 blockers as Atomic Bambino calls it off for Wesco, putting 5 points on the board. She ghost points Flood City, takes us up to 123 to 24 with 3 minutes left in the first half.
What's going to be the plan at halftime, you think, here for the Sirens?
Well, I wouldn't want to be in front of Coach Brad.
No. It's all a learning experience. All learning
it is.
Experience
no,
here.
it is, and they're doing well. He gets excited.
We just had a massive clear out there by the blockers for Wesco as Code Red was sprung out there.
She got right around real quick, got sprung. And Tiny Terror is the jammer for Flood City, still trying to make her initial pass. And Code Red with a natural 5. And the Westco wall has been tough tonight, holding back Tiny Terror as Code Red goes in for another natural 5. That's 10 on this jam for her. As Westco loses a blocker, as Chick of Destiny has to sit down.
Code Red went right through that hole that was created there. It was like a perfect distraction.
The Westco wall still keeping Tiny Terror held back. It doesn't matter who she goes up against. They've all been really tough. All right, and Tiny Terror with her initial pass as Code Red calls off the jam just as Chicken Destiny is ready to go in. So we'll start at full strength. We've got 1 minute left in this last jam. Jam number 19, our score now at 141 for Westco and 24 for J-Town. This jam will go either the full 2 minutes or until the lead jammer calls off the jam, even though there'll be about 40 seconds left on the clock. And it's Nikki Nightmare for the Flood City Fury jamming up against number 31, Heather Scissorhands. And Heather Scissorhands is the lead jammer again. And Heather Scissorhands right around on the inside of the track for a natural 5.
She's probably going to go around one more time and call this one good a half.
And the clock will be timing out here, but the jam will continue until it is either called off or the track timer times out the full 2 minutes. And Heather Scissorhands with another natural 5 as she passes up all 5 members of the Flood City Fury. Nikki Nightmare through on the inside. She's got one more blocker to get past, and she gets tangled up with Atomic Bambino. And she's going to get called for a back block. Unfortunately, going to send her to the sin bin.
Wow, she just went right through the wall there for J-Town.
Another 5 points for Heather Scissorhands as she ghost points Nikki Nightmare. And it's a change of gameplay call against Tammy Toestop, the captain of Westco, and the jam times out with another 5 points for Heather Scissorhands.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that'll be the end of the first half here.
We're waiting for the scores to kind of adjust a little bit. Looks like our score is 141 for Westco and 24 for J-Town. We'll be back in 14 minutes and 22 seconds as we go into our halftime show.
And we're going to get ready here to go to the halftime show. Why don't we give one last sponsor here before we go out. They're going to be our halftime entertainment. We will not see it here on television, unfortunately, as we're on time constraint tonight. But what is our halftime entertainment tonight?
Tonight's halftime entertainment is Mystic Rain Belly Dance.
So we thank them for being a part of the show tonight. So ladies and gentlemen, enjoy this here. And for television, we will be back with second half action and live here from the Mount Pleasant Hot Shot Sports Indoor Arena. And we'll be back right after this.
Armstrong Local Programming features our community like no one else. Meet your friends and neighbors at special events. Find the perfect pet, celebrate our region's rich history, or enjoy our natural wonders. Armstrong local programming is available online, on demand, and on your local Armstrong channel. Find the complete program schedule at armstrongonewire.com. Local program, exclusively from Armstrong. One Wire, infinite possibilities.
The roller derby here at Hot Shots Arena. Getting ready for an exciting second half as the refs go over equipment check, make sure everyone's safe for the second half. Certainly don't want anybody getting hurt. Or score going into the second half is 166 for Westco and 24 for J-Town. Nothing is insurmountable.
No, especially in roller derby. It's a tale of two halves. You go in with momentum, but you need to reestablish it as soon as you come out. Anything can happen in this game.
Anything can happen. We've seen it time and time again. So we'll see what kind of coaching Coach Brad put to Flood City and how Westco's feeling as they came out of this locker room for the first half.
I actually got a little one-on-one interview with Pitts McGee here right before the start of the second half, and he said there were some points left off the board, and got to work on that stuff. You got some big bouts coming up here, and a big Morgantown bout right before Easter on Saturday, April 19th here at the Hot Shots Arena that they got to get ready for.
Yeah, without a doubt, yeah, because that's going to be a big one. Coming up for J-Town, and Flood City Fury going to be going up against State College May 10th up on the Johnstown side of the mountain, site still to be determined, but it certainly will be in the greater Johnstown area. State College coming to town. That's going to looking like a big doubleheader going to be on that day. So May 10th, mark your calendar for the next Flood City Sirens bout up in J-Town.
Ladies and gentlemen, please check out the merchandise booths for both Westmoreland and for the Johnstown team. They both have items over there for sale, so please go check them out. You can really see the pink and black here in the stands tonight, so we'd like to thank everyone for making the drive down to come see this tonight.
Lots of different styles. Collect one of each and get a sticker on your car so everyone knows that you support your local roller derby team. And we're ready to start the second half. We've got the 5-second whistle. And we've got Atomic Bombino. Atomic Bombino for Westco, as Nikki Nightmare was still in the box from the end of the last half, and she comes out of the box and right into the thick of things as both jammers looking to get through the opposition's walls. Nikki Nightmare through the inside, and she gets lead jammer status for the beginning of the second half. As the refs get the pack reformed, Atomic Bombino right behind her, and she calls it off before either jammer can get some points on the board. That was a big start for the second half, with Flood City Sirens getting lead jam status. No points doesn't change our score any, and that was a quick call off. And we've got
Fitzo for Westco.
And Betty Bombshell, number 23 for the Flood City Fury.
I think the volume here is a little loud from the amazing belly dance show.
And Schizo Fitzo out in front is your lead jammer. And Betty Bombshell still trying to get through the Westco pack. And Flood City Sirens are down 2 blockers. And it's a natural 5 for Schizo Fitzo. As Betty Bombshell still trying to get through for her initial pass. Schizo Fitzo with another natural 5. And now we've got the pack reforming with all skaters back in. And a natural 5 for Schizo Fitzo, puts her for 15 on this jam. And Schizo with another natural 5.
That was amazing. Did you see what Schizo did there? She T-toed the line with one skate, managed to not cut the rope, and still stayed on the track.
That's an amazing feat. She puts 20 up on the board, 181 to 24. We come into our third jam of the second half. And it's Ophelia Payne jamming for Wesco up against Nun Crusher, 66-69 for the Flood City Sirens. And she's put out of bounds by Schizo Fitzo. Ophelia Payne becomes your lead jammer.
Wesco's down the skater right now too, as Heather Scissorhands is in the box.
And the Wesco line still not letting Nun Crusher through. She gets pushed out of bounds one more time, and that's a natural 5 for Ophelia Payne. And Stiletto Flame pushing Nun Crusher out of bounds again in turn 4.
Ophelia Payne back through again.
She gets through for another 5. That's 15 going on the board for Ophelia Payne, and she calls it off just as Nun Crusher looking to make a pass on her initial.
See who's wearing the jammer here is going to be Code Red.
Up against Foxy Balboa for the Flood City Fury. Our score now standing at 191 to 24, so that was 10 points up for Ophelia Payne.
Foxy must have her own little cheering section out there, because I saw a few of her t-shirts out in the crowd tonight.
She knows how to dance around, get on the inside, but this time it's Code Red out in front as your lead jammer, and Foxy takes the inside route and is able to make her initial pass. The Fury Wall not able to keep Code Red. She calls off the jam. For a quick 4 points for Wesco and Code Red. And the Flood City Sirens not able to put anything on the board again. So we're now at 195 to 24 with 6 minutes gone in the first half. Second half, excuse me, we've already had a half.
Yeah, how about that one? Trying to give us bonus time here.
And we've got Reign of Terror jamming for the Flood City Sirens.
And my MVP
against,
of the first half there.
Heather Scissorhands, who's your lead jammer for Wesco. And Reign of Terror getting her initial pass through before Heather Scissorhands could put up a natural 5. And Heather Scissorhands with a shoulder to put Reign of Terror out. Malice Chalmers back into the action as we are at full strength for both teams. And Heather Scissorhands calling off the jam.
That was a nice little hit there. Jammer on jammer.
Jammer on jammer on the outside wall in between turns 2 and 3.
Never want to make a right turn.
No. Left, 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 left. And on the jam line, we've got Malice Chalmers for the Wesco girls up against Champagne. Number 80, Champagne for the Flood City Sirens. looking for an opening past Ophelia Payne, but no, Mollis Chalmers is out front as your lead jammer. Champagne looking for a little bit of help from Roxy Razorblade on the inside, but Ophelia Payne not having any of it. Daisy Dukin in the middle of all that, trying to help out her teammate, and that's a natural 5 for Malice Chalmers, number 333. And there's Champagne through for her initial pass. Malice Chalmers looking to put in another 4 points on the board.
Oh, she falls down.
She's down, and she calls it off before Champagne can come through for any scoring pass. Which will now take Westco to 2:07 to the Flood City Sirens 24. We're going into our 6th jam of the second half. Atomic Bombino on the line for Westco. And Foxy Balboa, she was kind of hiding back there, didn't see where she was at, right behind Atomic Bambino. Foxy trying to work the outside, inside, and Foxy Balboa with lead jammer gets past Atomic Bambino, and Atomic Bambino about a quarter of a lap behind. Foxy can dance and dine with the best of them. And both skaters coming in for their scoring pass.
Can't get around that wall there.
Foxy calls it off, but not before she puts 3 points on the board, and 2 points on the board for Flood City, 3 points for Westco. Atomic Bambino able to get on the inside track and get past a couple of Flood City girls. Now we've got Betty Bombshell on the line for Flood City up against Code Red for Westco. The score sitting at 210 to 26 with Westco up. Betty Bombshell gets a push through, still walled up. But Code Red just barely out in front with lead jammer, and Betty Bombshell tight up against her.
This is a good jam room right here.
It's a race to the pack, and Code Red calls off the jam before anybody can get any points on the board.
Was that smart?
I was trying to see if they were going to get anything. It looked tight.
Is that one of those you play defense on that one?
It is, you know. It's we're ahead. Let's keep that way. Let's not let them get any points. Sort of endeavors. And we've got a timeout from the Westco bench. Good time to talk about Rocco's Pizzeria with locations in Youngwood and Greensburg. Rocco's Pizza is a sponsor of Westco Roller Derby. If you want to be a sponsor of Westco Roller Derby, please see one of these lovely ladies in the green uniforms or talk to anyone associated with Westco or over at their merch table. They'd love to have you on board to sponsor one of their teams.
Speaking of the merch table, tonight SNPJ in Greensburg will be hosting the after party tonight. Directions are at the booth. Come join us tonight. And special thanks to them for hosting the after party.
The SNPG Lodge. And that will be also our MVP awards will be given out at the after party.
Yes, they will be.
There at the lodge. So come on out to SNPJ and buy a Derby girl a drink.
That's it. That's it.
There's no greater reward in this world than buying a Derby girl a drink.
I'll tell you what, these girls have definitely deserved it tonight, ladies and gentlemen. We've seen some great action here. And there's talent here coming up, and especially for Johnstown here. You've got a team up and rising, and they're going to be fun to watch.
Oh, without a doubt. And we're fresh. We're just getting things off the ground, not even skating for under a year so far. So we have high expectations coming ahead. Really looking forward to it.
And these Westmoreland girls know all the growing pains that come along with the sport, as this is season 3 now. Their big anniversary bout will be again in July. And I've had the luxury of covering these ladies since the beginning, and they've come a long, long way. And I'll tell you what, it's very impressive to see what they're able to do tonight.
And as roller derby grows around here, you know, there's a lot of other towns and counties like ours. You know, if somebody wants to get their own league started closer to them, you know, we'd love to have more leagues get started. It's a DIY sport, do it yourself. You know, there's very little help at the beginning. You know, you just say, hey, I think we'd like to have a roller derby team. Find a place to do it and put some tape on the floor and let her rip.
Hey, that's
and
great.
Here we go. We're into our 10th jam of the evening. We're a third of the way through the first half, and it's Nikki Nightmare jamming for Flood City. But Heather Scissorhands is out in front as the lead jammer for Westco. And now Nikki Nightmare has made her initial pass as the ref reforms the pack. And Barbie O'Havoc's going to sit down for the Flood City Sirens. And the jam is called off with 4 points for Heather Scissorhands. Westco puts 4 points on the board now at 2:14 for Westco and 26 for J-Town. And right at the end of that jam, Champaign got called to sit down for 30. So she's going to have a full 30 going into this 11th jam of the second half. And it's Malice Chalmers jamming for Westco.
She tried to cut the outside, and the lane was there.
And Raina Terror gets the same pushback from Code Red. Raina Terror jamming for the Flood City Sirens. And Malice Chalmers out in front as your lead jammer. Raina Terror looking for an opening anywhere she can find through the Westco wall. And Jannibal Lecter from Flood City gives her that opening. And that's 4 points on the board for Malice Chalmers as she's right behind Raina Terror.
She's gonna call it here.
And Malice Chalmers calls it off as the Westco bench starts letting her know what to do. She calls it off just before Raina Terror can put 1 point on the board, taking us up to 218 to 27 for Flood City. And on the jam line, it's Heather Scissorhands once again up against Betty Bombshell. And at the whistle, it's Heather Scissorhands on the outside, clears the Flood City Fury wall. As Betty Bombshell's looking for her initial passage, getting an opening on the outside. Heather Scissorhands makes her scoring pass on the inside for a natural 5. Betty Bombshell working her way back inside the pack after being pushed out. And Heather Scissorhands looking for another scoring pass. And she gets past for another natural 5.
There was just a big group of Sirens down, and an easy pass there for Heather.
Tiny Terror just got called to sit down for 30 seconds. So the Flood City Sirens down 1 skater. And now we're going to even up as number 322 for the Sirens. Queen of Hertz takes a seat. And Heather Scissorhands through with another 5-point pass. And Tiny Terror back into the mix.
might be the final pass.
And Betty Bombshell still looking through for her initial. And Heather Scissorhands coming through on the inside.
Oh,
Does a little dodge and duck for another 5 natural.
that's a little how do you do.
And how do you do? That's 20 points up for Heather Scissorhands in this jam. And so far, it looks like we may go to the full 2 minutes, and we've got a cross cut, or cutting the track, excuse me. After the star pass, we've got a cutting the track penalty. A big hit from Roxy Razorblade puts Heather Scissorhands out. She has to come behind the back of the pack before she can restart.
Oh,
Oh. And Ophelia Payne with an elbow is going to sit down right here at the end of the jam, and we may end up with the jam timed out, but we'll see if that penalty is going to hold. We have an official timeout as they discuss whether that jam ended before the penalty was called.
I actually didn't see when the penalty was actually called. I think it was simultaneously, so not going to see. We don't have replay here, so.
No, and they're going to discuss exactly how that happened, and if she sits down for 30 seconds, it'll be 30 seconds for that beginning of the next jam.
It's 2:53 Westco to 27 for the Sirens. While we have a chance, we do have another sponsor here we'd like to thank.
You betcha. It's CG Wraps Design and Graphics, located in Mount Pleasant. For all your wrap design and graphic needs, please see CG Wraps Designs and Graphics, another great sponsor of Westco Roller Derby.
And we can't not have a sponsor and not thank Hot Shots here in Mount Pleasant for hosting this event tonight.
It's a fantastic facility. It's so nice to come down here and have our girls skate here. We want to thank you for having us down here at Hot Shots, and for Hot Shots providing a great place for Westco Roller Derby to skate on a regular basis.
We're still deciding. It looks like we're getting ready to put the skate back on. I think they were fixing parts of the track, retaping some of it down. Well, sir, how many bouts have you been a part of now?
Officially, this is probably about my 5th or 6th.
Okay.
You know, I do some freelance work, as it were. So I followed my team down here, but there's North Allegheny Roller Derby. I do announce for them on about 3 occasions already. So if anybody's looking for a freelance roller derby announcer, give me a call.
Here you go.
We'll work for water.
There you go. That's a good one.
And it looks like they've come to a decision, and at this point they're going to let the penalty stand. So Westco is going to start off on a power jam as the Flood City Sirens have their jammer in the box.
Code Red pushing through the wall.
And we've got a destruction of pack call that's going to sit number 1953, Pinky Donchadero, into the bench. And now Code Red has become your lead jammer. And Code Red calls off the jam just as Tiny Terror gets through for her initial pass. So right now our score is sitting at 253 for Westco, excuse me, 256 for Westco, and J-Town at 27. And we're a little bit more than halfway through this second half with just over 13 minutes left in our 13th jam of the second.
These 30-second penalties really made a difference.
You betcha. You betcha. Not quite as many points scored so far in this second half.
Oh!
And we've got Foxy Balboa is the lead jammer, even though at this point she's kind of trailing in the pack.
I think Atomic Bombino just dropped the bomb on her.
And Foxy Balboa puts some points on the board and calls off the jam. Before Westco could put any points on the board, nope, Foxy's gonna come up with nothing. So our score's gonna hold off at 2:56 to 27. And we've got a timeout charged to the referees. And they're discussing who was in penalty and who wasn't in penalty boxes. Ref Brad to the bone.
Hey, at least, you know, communication between both sides, it's always very well needed. And if you want to be a referee, also contact your local roller derby association and find out more.
Without a doubt. And if skating isn't your thing, we're always looking for what we call NSOs, or non-skating officials. Those are the people who track penalties and take care of the penalty box and the scoring. So out in front is your lead jammer is Schizo Fizzo, number 33. Jamming for Flood City is Nun Crusher, number 6669. And Schizo Fizzo with a natural 5 on her first scoring pass, as Nun Crusher's still looking to get through for her initial. Schizo Fizzo through for another 5. Nun Crusher still attempting to get her initial pass, as the Westco wall has not let up any since the first half. And Schizo Fizzo for another natural 5.
Just when you thought she might be out and about.
That was the Queen of Hertz putting...
living up to her name.
Yeah, putting Nun Crusher fresh out of bounds. Very physical activity going on here. There's no quitting these girls, and that's Nun Crusher through for her initial pass. And Schizo Fizzo calls it off as the jam was coming to a close. Our score now sitting at 268 for Westco and 27 for the Flood City Sirens. And we've got a timeout for the Flood City Sirens.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you missed any of tonight's action, or if you would like to watch it again, please tune into Hometown Sports here on Armstrong Local Programming, Channel 20 and 100, as we will bring this action to you again. Check your local listings. We'll probably do a Monday, Wednesday, Friday viewing, and then again on Saturday, Sunday, and check it out throughout the year. I tend to put the most recent roller derby bouts on, or help promote, especially during a bout week.
We want to thank you for coming down and filming tonight.
Oh, not a problem. I enjoy doing this, and
it's fantastic. You know, getting the roller derby word out there to the greater regions of the area. You know, if this is what it takes to get people to come down to a bout, you know, please come down and support your local roller derby in person. Become a sponsor. Come down and skate. Be a ref at NSO. Anything you can do. It's a wonderful sport, empowering women.
It's a lot of fun seeing these ladies out here doing this.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've had a lot of fun. A whole lot of fun, and a lot of growing pains, as you can well imagine.
Oh, yeah.
As any new organization does. And we're back to the gem line. Looks like the timeout is over for Flood City Sirens. And new jammer for the Sirens is Barbie O'Havoc, trying to sneak through on the insides. And Heather Scissorhands, who is just... Heather Scissorhands through his lead jammer. I don't think she's never had lead jam status.
Yeah, she. If I had to vote for MVP, I could tell you who I'm giving it to.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. She showed me up from the minute that first whistle blew, so.
And that's a natural 5 for Heather Scissorhands as Barbie O'Havoc tries to work her way through the inside. And Ophelia Payne pushes her onto the inside of the track and down. Heather Scissorhands working his tiptoes on the outside edge, through for another 5. Barbie O'Havoc right up against the Westco wall. And she's with a no pack call, they have to retreat, but not before she's pushed out of bounds by Tammy Toestop.
Girls are slowing down a little bit here.
The pack did slow down, and it looks like Daisy Dukin getting called for a penalty, but having a little discussion with Brad to the Bone, the ref.
Yeah, that's what you want your captain to do.
And that's a 5-pointer for Heather Scissorhands.
Actually,
and it looks like
go ahead.
Barbie O'Havoc going to sit down for the Flood City Sirens. So it's a Westco power jam.
I'm waiting for the graphics and fancy music to pop up on here as soon as the power jam happens.
And it looks like this one might time out as we're down to 5 seconds left in the jam. And it's another 5 points for Heather Scissorhands. And the jam has timed out.
We're going to have a timeout here.
And there's a little bit of discussion going on about the clock and
hey, it's all volunteers.
It's all good.
Yep.
It's all good. And we're ready for our 16th jam of the second half with just 7.5 minutes left in the second half of this great night at Derby. And it's Code Red out in front for Westco. And Barbie O'Havoc, who was in the box, in the penalty box, but had to come out and jam again up against the Westco wall. And it looks like Tiny Terror is now going to sit down for 30 seconds. And that's a natural 5 for Code Red.
Barbie just can't get away from the wall back there.
And Barbie O'Havoc trying to weave her way through Westco as they've got her kind of sandwiched and pinned. And she gets knocked out of bounds on the inside, and that's another natural 5 for Code Red.
She kept on one skate. There was about one wheel Tito in there.
I think I saw Wiley Coyote do something like that once on a high wire.
Yeah, but I think it ended badly.
I think there was an amble involved.
Yeah, Acme was also there. Oh, everyone goes down.
That was a pileup on I-99. And Code Red calls off the jam before it times out, but not before putting a bunch of points on the board.
See how many she put up there. I'm going to take a guess at least.
As soon as they update the scoreboard, we'll.
17 maybe?
We're at 3:15 for Westco to 27 for J-Town, and we're going to be going into the 17th jam of the second half with just over 5 minutes left. And on the jam line, it's Betty Bombshell for the Flood City Sirens and Mollis Chalmers for Westco. And she's pushed out of bounds early by Raina Terror, who's going to make her back up before Brad to the Bone calls the out-of-play call. And now Raina Terror is going to get called for out-of-play, making contact with the jammer. So she's going to go to the box for 30 seconds. Betty Bombshell around on the inside becomes lead jammer for the Flood City Sirens. And Betty Bombshell calls it off before either her or Malice Chalmers can get to the pack. So that's no points on the board for either team. We're going to stand at 3:15 to 27 in the 18th jam of the night. Jamming for Westco is Heather Scissorhands. Again, I think she's in about every other jam there, Seth.
Yeah, tell you what, she's special talent here. If she's not jamming,
got to go with your strength.
She's been blocking too.
And she gets lead jammer status again as Code Red is released. And Champagne, number 80 for the Flood City Sirens, is out on her initial pass. And Heather Scissorhands calls off the jam, but not before putting 4 points on the board. As the Flood City Sirens.
All the jammers today for Westco just come to play.
Yes, there's no doubt about it. And they're getting lead jam and putting points on the board every single time. Their score now sitting at 319 for Westco to Flood City Sirens 27. And we're just under 3.5 minutes left in the second half. And it's Nikki Nightmare out in front, number 231 for the Flood City Sirens. And she is your lead jammer. And it's Atomic Bambino jamming for Westco. And Nikki Nightmare calls off the jam before either team can put any points on the board once again. So our score will remain at 319 to 27.
Probably have 3 more jams here before our night is over.
Depending on how fast the jammers get to the call off, you're probably right. This will be our 20th jam of the second half. We've got Malice Chalmers for Westco up against Nun Crusher, number 6669. And Nun Crusher pushed out of bounds.
And there we're going to have a
for
power
the Sirens.
Jam.
And it's going to be a power jam for the Sirens. As Malice Chalmers is going to take a seat for 30.
Ophelia Payne sitting too.
That was on a cutting the track penalty, and Nun Crusher coming in for a scoring pass. And she's around quickly on the outside, and that's 5.
J-Town's going to put up some points here.
Nun Crusher can skate fast, and she calls off the jam before Malice Chalmers can get back into the action. So Westco will start with a jammer in the box for the 21st jam. And we're going to start this jam with just under a minute. So it'll go for the full 2 minutes or until the jammer calls it off, even if the clock runs out of time. So it's Nikki Nightmare on the jam line for the Flood City Sirens. And they get a no pack call. As Herder Hoover is going to go back for a failure to reform call. And Malice Chalmers back in for Westco. And Nikki Nightmare trying to get through the wall. And Nikki Nightmare calls off the jam, with Malice Chalmers putting 1 point on the board and the Flood City Sirens putting 2 points on the board. And Malice Chalmers and Ophelia Payne having a moment on the track. I think we'll just leave it at that, a moment. We've got a timeout over on the Flood City Sirens bench.
I think I just want to get one more bout in here, or jam, I should say.
It will be the last jam of the evening. And we're going to have to put a little more time on the clock. So I believe there were only a few seconds left on the clock when that jam got called.
Yes.
And we're hoping everyone can join us tonight at the SNPJ, lodge number 232, I believe was the lodge number.
Oh, wow, look at that.
I got the email.
More information's coming out as we
in
go
Greensburg.
further. Yeah.
Where we'll have the after party. Come down and buy a beverage for a Derby girl. And we'll be having the MVP awards for both teams at the SNPJ Lodge in Greensburg.
How does the MVP process go?
Excuse me?
I was trying to let the fans at home know how the MVP process goes.
Yes.
So that's why I was looking to you there, my friend.
The team's pick for each team. We've got Reign of Terror jamming for the Flood City Sirens up against Ophelia Payne. And Ophelia Payne gets lead jammer status.
Ophelia just went right through there. Oh, she cut the track there.
She gets spinned around to the outside. Ophelia Payne looking for an inside track. And Reign of Terror up against the Westco wall, which has a nice ring to it, by the way.
Yes, it does.
And Ophelia Payne through for a natural 5.
See if she can get one more pass in here. And she calls it.
And we put. It looks like they're going to call the match right there. With our final score unofficially at 325 for Wesco and 34 for the J-Town Flood City Fury. Sirens, Flood City Sirens.
There we
I will
go.
say that wrong, won't I?
It's all right. Congratulations to both teams here tonight. Fans, if you want to come up and high five both groups here as our...
Come out and give them a high five.
This is a pretty cool thing to end a Derby match. I've always enjoyed this.
Ladies and gentlemen, give a hand for tonight's winners, Wesco Roller Derby. Give them a high five.
And actually, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to wrap up a part of our television broadcast here. We're going to have a quick interview with the Derby girl after here, so stay tuned for that. But, sir, I couldn't do this without you. Thank you very much.
Thanks for being here, Seth. We couldn't have done it without you, especially the video portion.
Yeah, not a problem.
And let's hear it for our visitors, the Flood City Sirens.
Ladies and gentlemen, we hope you enjoyed this bout, and log on to the websites not only for the Westmoreland Roller Derby League, but also log on to the Facebook page as well for the Johnstown Roller Derby team.
You betcha. jtownrollergirls.com, and our Facebook is J-Town Roller Girls. Come over and visit, like us, like them, like Derby.
And that'll be it. Well, sir, thank you very much once again. Ladies and gentlemen, we hope you've enjoyed, and we'll see you again next time at the rink.
Thanks.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are here with my MVP of the night, Heather. Just got to say, my bad, because you made me look bad. Because I came up to you and asked you before the bout. I was like, oh, I don't remember seeing you before, and you were quick to remind me. I filmed you last year in our July 1st anniversary bout. Was that, Seth, this is right back in your face?
Yes, I guess. I had to prove my point, make you remember my name.
I'll tell you what, that it is. You were flying out on the track tonight. What was the experience like for you? Because you were probably the steal of the show.
It was a lot of fun. J-Town, they're a wonderful team of girls. I've played with them before, filling in for them. They're great. They're very nice, very welcoming, and it was nice to play against them. It was a lot of fun.
Well, that's great. Hey, thank you very much. I'm going to let you get back to the team photo. Congratulations on the victory, and we'll see you again here soon.
All right, thank you.